What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I want to get into this. I'm Information Man, and this is very serious information that I want to give you. I've been following the Tory Lanez situation as evidence has broken out that may get this brother out of prison. He might have been wrongfully indicted because now you have someone coming out. I think Cassie Harris is her name. Now evidence is coming out that she might have been the one that actually shot Mega Stallion in the foot. I think this is starting to come out because if you go back and look at the articles and things that came out in podcasts, Cassie Harris already had said that she felt that Mega Stallion had threw her under the bus. So I'm going to get back to that little portion in just a minute, but I want to focus on this area right here because I know that ever since this information has broken out, the father has spoken, the lawyers have come out and talked about the bodyguard and what was said and what he heard and the fact that he didn't sign an NDA. I got to be honest. A lot of people think that Tory Lanez being stabbed in a correctional facility in California had something to do with this situation coming out, that all of a sudden this evidence comes out that could get him out of prison and therefore he gets stabbed. I'm here to tell you, don't get caught up in that type of ideology or thinking, and I'm gonna tell you why. Now, I'm not just a content creator on these YouTube streets, but I also am a professional. I do work in the health field as a therapist, and I particularly deal in the correctional facilities and know these correctional facilities very well and how it operates in particular. So this is the thing about Tory Lanez, and this is why, from my, not only my opinion, but what I have seen over my 25 years within the environment and in the environment in which I'm helping some of these guys to get out of prison, to deal with their mental health issues and what have you. Not a correctional officer, but I know these environments. A lot of people talk about white supremacy and gangs and all that sort of stuff on these YouTube streets. I deal with these individuals up close and personal. White supremacists, all gangs, street gangs, and prison gangs. Street gangs and prison gangs are two different things. When you come off the streets, you adhere to who controls the gang structure in prison. And I'm going to break a little bit of that down here. Now, let's focus now. I want to stay focused on Tory Lanez and why I believe, through my experience, why he got stabbed 14 times in a correctional facility in California. First of all, if you have not remembered this, when he first came into prison, Tory Lanez himself was requesting, I know this for a fact, was requesting to be in general population. But because of his high profile status as an rapper, he's an entertainer, and the high profile of the case with Mega Stallion being the person who accused him of these things, the prison system, the California rehabilitation correctional facilities, they didn't see fit to keep him or allow him to be in general population. So what they did with Tory Lanez is they put him in what we call ASAG. ASAG is basically simple as this: administrative segregation. That means that he had little to no contact with other inmates at that point in time because they were trying to protect him from potential mishap towards him. At that time, Tory Lanez was at North Kern Prison in California, in the Cummings County of California. North Kern is basically a medium security prison, right? So that means he wasn't in there primarily with the biggest of big boys, but this is very important. They had him in administrative segregation for his own protection and good. And then somehow or another, I don't know how this happened, but these things do happen. I kind of know how they happen, but I can't get into those kind of details. But for whatever reason, I got to keep it real with you. He was moved from North Kern Prison, which was a medium security prison, to a prison called California Institution. It's a California Correctional Institution, to be correct is the proper name, CCI, Tehachapi, California. A lot of people in California call it Tehachapi Prison, but it's actually the California Correction Institute, CCI. So when he went there, this is how everything changed. And you need to listen to what I'm telling you, because I know this from experience, because I've seen this firsthand. You have different level prisons in California. You have level 2 prisons, level 3 prisons, level 4 prisons. Then you have your max prisons. You've got Pelican Bay that keeps some of the worst of prisoners, such as gang leaders, people that are movers and shakers. That's a maximum security prison, Pelican Bay, okay? Then you've got this prison, the California Correctional Institute in Tehachapi, California. That is a max prison. What does that mean? In this max prison, you're going to have guys that are gang related, gang criminality. You've got guys that are there that are lifers, never getting out of jail, out of prison. Jail and prison are two different things, but out of prison, they're never. So a lot of times when guys have that status, they play for keeps, meaning they don't mind harming someone or doing any kind of treachery to you because they've got nothing to lose, because they've already lost. They're not going home ever in their life, okay? So you've got guys in this particular prison that are doing lots of time, all right? Never getting out, doing 30, 40 years. You've got gang members. You've got people that are well connected within this type of institution. It's what we call a level 4 max institution. The worst of the worst are sent there. So this is the thing I have to say as a side note. I don't know why Tory Lanez, in my opinion, I don't personally believe that Tory Lanez should have been in a maximum security prison around individuals who are real thugs, real movers and shakers. This is the thing you have to understand. You get a lot of these rappers, a lot of these entertainers, that just because they got tattoos, they want to act tough and bad, and you think that, hey, they really tough, they're really street. Tory Lanez is not as street as you think he is when he's in a correctional facility of this nature. He just becomes a guppy amongst sharks. He just becomes a goldfish amongst sharks that will eat him up. Keep this in mind. Tory Lanez is not really American. He's from Canada, so he has no connections. A lot of times when you're in a prison like this, it's good for you to have some type of connection, meaning people in the prison that can kind of protect you, meaning other inmates that can kind of say, we're going to make sure nobody touches this guy. No, we're going to have his back, because Tory Lanez is not American. He's from Canada. So he really didn't have any real inroads into dudes that are in the prison system that could have kept him on the straight and arrow of not getting attacked by this individual that attacked him. Now, this is what goes on in these high-level security prisons. Now, this particular prison, California Correctional Institute, CCI, is a level 4 max prison, has 4 different levels in it. However he was attacked, it's terrible that it happens, but the reality is, even in a maximum security prison, shit can happen, okay? Now, this is what happened to Tory Lanez. You got a guy like Tory Lanez who really ain't gangster. Let's keep it real. He ain't really that connected within the California penal system. So he was seen, for some guys, as just a fish. We're going to eat him up. We're going to gobble him up. But he was in there with some of the worst of the worst who have done things like murder people, take people's lives, stab people, shank people, and what have you. And this is exactly what happened to Tory Lanez. So he's in this maximum security prison, coming from a medium security prison, being sent there to a more demonstrative institution. Okay. And here you have this, I'm not going to say his name. I know his name, but here's a picture of the guy who attacked Tory Lanez. Let me tell you what this guy's background is. And I'm going to tell you some other dynamics for why he got stabbed. All this talk about, oh, it was Mega Stallion that set him up or somebody. No, bullshit. He got stabbed because this is the environment that he was in where this shit happens. I notice this shit happens on a daily. I read the reports. So what happened to Tory Lanez, to get back on track here, is that the guy that stabbed him was a lifer, a guy who had nothing to lose. Now, this guy that stabbed Tory Lanez, who you see on this picture right here, came into prison originally in 2004 for a second-degree murder attempt, okay? They gave him life with the possibility of parole, and then they also charged him with the attempted murder. So he got more time tacked on, and they gave him life, okay? So that was his charges originally. Attempted murder and also attempted murder is what they got him on. But they gave him the option for parole. He's probably messed all that up right now, everybody. I'm being serious with y'all. Then in 2008, just like Tory Lanez got stabbed by this guy has a propensity for this. In 2008, in that institution, he attacked another inmate with a deadly weapon. 9, 10 times, he probably created a shank like you see these shanks right up here that I'm showing you on the screen, okay? So he attacked a guy with a deadly weapon, and as a result of that, they gave him 6 more years on top of a life sentence that he had a possibility of parole. He probably don't have no parole anymore. This guy doesn't give a damn. Then after he did that attack in 2008, let's go up to 2018. In 2018, this guy got caught with manufactured weapons, right? That's very serious. That's a contraband. You can't have that. I've seen this firsthand where guys have been caught with manufactured weapons, shanks, you name it. They're hiding it inside their bodies, inside their skin, inside of what they call their man purse, which would be in their behind. I'm telling you, in the booty. I'm being honest with you all, everybody. And they use these weapons to protect themselves when they go to yard or whatever the circumstances may be. This shit is real and it does happen. So Tory Lanez got attacked by a guy who had a propensity to attack, had a life sentence, racked up time while being on a life sentence, and probably lost the option to be able to get a parole hearing, okay? And at that point, all bets are off. You don't give a damn. He also got stabbed by a gang member. As I said before, this institution that he was in was infested with gang members that don't play with you, okay? They will harm you. Tory Lanez is an entertainer. He ain't no real gangster, okay? So that's the problem with a lot of these guys that are out here rapping and putting on these images in their videos, and then we get sucked into it and think that they really about that life. Tory Lanez ain't really about that life. The guys that he was in this joint with, they were about that life. This individual was about that life. So this individual who already did a stabbing or an attack on someone got 6 years tacked onto that sentence that he already had. Then he turned around and manufactured weapons and got caught with these weapons by correctional officers. And then they tacked on another 2 years to his already life sentence with a possibility of parole, which is probably gone at this point in time. Particularly now that he stabbed Tory Lanez 14 times. He's finished in show business, y'all. He ain't never getting out. And I bet you he don't give a damn about what he did to Tory Lanez. Sometimes these inmates like to attack high-profile inmates because it kind of gives them a name in the joint that they can say, hey, I was the one that did the deed on this guy. Sometimes when you have these gang structures within the prison systems, you can have gang leaders who don't like the individual for whatever the reasons, and they can put a green light on a guy and say, we want that guy taken out. And they can give that gang member instructions to do such. So there's a chance that the guy who did this to him could have gotten instructions from someone to do so, or just didn't like Tory Lanez, saw Tory Lanez as a fish, someone he could take advantage of. And the rest is history. The man was stabbed 14 times and now recovering. And then all of a sudden now you get this news about new evidence that could possibly release him out of prison. Tory Lanez and his family better hope that he does get released out of prison, because this ain't going to be the last time that there's a possibility that he could be attacked like this. Now, obviously, when he heals up, they're going to put him in administrative segregation. As I said before, they're going to definitely have to keep him from the general population of the prison. They can't have anybody around him. He's high profile. Why he stays for the rest of his stay until maybe the court case overturns his conviction and allows him to come out. This is what truly happened to Tory Lanez. One of the mistakes that Tory Lanez made is when he came into prison in the first place at North Kern, he made the statement that he wanted to be general population. Folks, everybody, if you ever go to prison, you're a high profile person, never make a request for that. Never put that into the atmosphere that you want to be in the general public, especially if you're not built for that and you don't have connections within that prison to get protection for yourself. Okay. Now, another thing you need to keep in mind that because this individual did this to Tory Lanez, he is a gang member. And these Hispanic gangs, this guy is a member of a Hispanic gang. These Hispanic gang members, especially if they are not what we call a dropout gang member, we used to have what they call sensitive needs yard in the prison, where if a guy dropped out of a gang and he wanted to denounce his gang, he would be put in they would PC him up, protective custody, that's what that means, for protection. But they got rid of that status. Now you've got these different gang members being blended in with other people. Now, another reason why this plays into why he was attacked is because Tory Lanez is black, and the guy that stabbed him was also Latino or Hispanic. A lot of these Hispanic gangs have codes that they live by, and they don't particularly like to mingle with other people of other races. You don't see black people and Hispanics in these level 4 type prisons, MAC prisons, sort of commingling with each other, buddy, like, because if you're a gang member, that's stepping out of code, okay? So what happens is that that could be another reason why he attacked Tory Lanez, because Tory Lanez is not affiliated with anyone that could protect him in there. And he probably saw him as a black guy, and he probably doesn't in particularly like black inmates because they tend to be segregated to their own factions and gang factions that they are members with or who they want to rock with. So you got to keep that in mind. That plays into why, could be a reason, and I believe it's the reason why it plays into why Tory Lanez got stabbed. He's in a prison, probably outnumbered basically on the racial graphics. Let me break down to you and let you know right now this. This is the truth, everybody, in the California penal system. 46% of the demographics in the prison system in California are made up of Latino, Hispanic, or Spanish-speaking people. 46%. Now, 28% of the penal system in California is made up of black people. That's 28%. Now, that percent could be people that are FBA, ADOS, black folks that come from the Caribbean or Africa. It could be a mixed bag of black people, but the bottom line is it's 28% of black people are in the prison system of California versus 46% Latino. You see what I'm saying? They outnumber black males in the penal system. So if you got a majority of these Hispanic gangs in the penal system, it puts you at risk, especially if you're not either connected and you don't have the numbers, okay? White people are at 20% in the prison system in California, and all other race of people, whether it be Asian or Native American, they're at 6% in the penal system in California. You got to keep this in mind. Now, the only time you see black and Latino gang members in the prison environment kind of working together, it's over who's going to control the drug trade in prison. It becomes the enemy of my enemy is now my friend. This is how it works. You have two Hispanic gangs. You have the Norteños and the Serranos. Serranos are in Southern California. Norteños are in Northern California. They don't like each other. They're all fighting over who's going to control drugs in the prison system. So the Norteños will work with the black gangs because the black gang's enemy is the white supremacist gangs, which would be your Aryan Brotherhood. The Aryan Brotherhood will work with the Southerners, Hispanics, because the Southern Hispanics' enemy is the Northern Hispanics. And that in the white supremacist gangs, such as the Aryan Brotherhood, their enemy are the black gang members. You see, so they all kind of collaborate with each other, but it's only not because they're buddy-buddy, it's over who's going to control the drug trade within a given institution, because drugs do get in these institutions as much as they try to stop it. This is the fact. This is information, man. I tell you no lies, but I tell you truth. So this is the dynamics that Tory Lanez was walking into from the moment that he was convicted, went into prison, made that statement that he wanted to be in general population. They had him at North Kern Prison in California, Southern California area. And then he was at some point in time transferred from that prison, which was a medium security prison, to this maximum security prison, where you've got the worst of the worst, gang members, people doing life without a chance for parole, people that are murderers, killers, cutthroats. And I'm sorry, Tory Lanez is an entertainer. He ain't real cutthroat. Okay. Also, this is a lesson for black men and just men in general to learn that you got to watch the company that you keep. I don't give a damn if it's Meg Thee Stallion or any female. As a man, you must be responsible and must be mature to understand the company that you keep. The night that this whole situation happened with Tory Lanez, he was out having a good time with Meg Thee Stallion, her friend Cassie Harris. They were getting high, they were having a good time, and they were messing around, and there was a mixture of jealousy over Tory Lanez either getting it on with her and Meg Thee Stallion not liking that, and the whole back and forth thing. And then they're getting high, they're getting drunk, they're getting high on the weed or whatever they were taking that night, and it led to bad things in the end, which led to Tory Lanez being in this situation where he was accused of something that looks like may not be the case. And as a result now, he has spent this time in prison and getting stabbed 14 times. And people can say indirectly that, oh, it's the fault of Meg Thee Stallion because she lied on him, if he is in fact innocent of all this stuff. But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter, because the minute that he was transferred to another institution, the minute he kept talking about he wanted to be G-pop, and the minute he was in a prison, and the minute this is a guy who isn't connected in California to anybody in that prison system, needing other inmates who can give him the protection and really school him as to how things go down in a California correctional institution, he wasn't prepared for it. He wasn't ready for it. And this was doomed to be something that could happen to Tory Lanez. While he's now trying to rest up, we'll see what happens. Let me play this video for you right now of the lawyers speaking upon the new evidence. Check this out right here.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. Passenger side is where Ms. Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Ms. Pete, did not shoot at Ms. Pete, or did not assault Ms. Pete.
Okay, so as you can see, the lawyer breaks down about the bodyguard and that this whole thing was something that was fabricated against Tory Lanez. And this the funny thing about it. Remember when his father he really crashed out and really was upset after Tory Lanez was convicted. He said it was a miscarriage of judgment, of justice. Let's give you a throwback to his father. Listen to this.
I just stood here in this Los Angeles County and witnessed the worst miscarriage of justice that this world has ever seen. You want to know how I feel? I'll tell you exactly how I feel. I got some names that I want to call. Alex Spiro, Desiree Perez, and the whole wicked system of Rock Nation, including you, Jay-Z.
Yes.
You who say you rose from the gutter but you have traded and bartered the souls of young men, and you're still doing it. The only independent witness in this courtroom is a man whose name is Sean Kelly. He came to court, and our attorneys, he would not even shake their hand after he went upstairs with Kathy Taw and Alex Bott.
They met on Saturday before. They met
They
on Saturday.
met with our witness, and then the man came back. I just stood here.
Okay, so you heard what his father said. That's a throwback to, and isn't it ironic that his father said those things, and now we're finding out that there's new evidence potentially. And I want to say to you, Cassie Harris, I've already seen an article where she said that she felt that Megan Thee Stallion threw her completely under the bus. I'm going to say again to men out there, sometimes it's just not worth it to be involved with loose women. Women that are getting loose, women that are drinking, using drugs, and then you thinking that, hey, it's going to be a lucky night for me. I'm going to have a threesome with these women. I'm going to have a good time. Sometimes these sort of things lead to bad things. Use better judgment, men. Think with your big head and not your small one, because this could get you where Tory Lanez is right now in a correctional institution in California, where now he got stabbed by a career criminal, a career criminal who's been doing this sort of stuff for a long time. And I just think that when he was in Esseg at if he had been at North Kern and still been in Esseg, maybe, I'm just saying maybe, this wouldn't have happened to him. I can't guarantee that it couldn't, because once again, you're in a California correctional prison, and these prisons don't play with you. So let's see how this all pans out, everybody. But what I just said to you is the truth. I have experience in these environments. It is the truth. All this other conspiracy theory about, oh, somebody, no, this was bound to happen to him because he was a guy who wasn't built like that in an institution, a maximum security prison, the California Correctional Institute, CCI, Tehachapi, California. That place is dangerous, especially for a guy like Tory Lanez. With that said, everybody, please share this video, like the video, tell someone about the channel. And this is Information Man. I tell you no lies, but I tell you truth. Tell the truth. Peace.